I just want to walk you real quick through the Web Soil Survey and how to use it, because it's a really powerful tool and there's a ton of stuff in here. So this will be the page that it brings you to. They do have your 4 basic steps here to kind of step you through it with some instructions, but I'm going to show you as well. So big old green button that says Start WSS, click that, and it's going to open up the Web Soil Survey. Sorry, I had it open. It's pulling up my previous search. What it'll do is probably start you off like at the United States level, right? It's going to be way zoomed out. So I'll go back to that. I didn't realize it would start me right back where I was. So here I'm zoomed out some. What you can do is you've got tools here, and then you've got these tabs up here. So you're going to start an area of interest, and you're going to use the zoom in tool to zoom into where you live. Let me minimize that as well, because that probably won't be open yet. You can type in an address, and usually that will get you where you need to be. So you could either zoom in or you can do an address here, and you can type in that address. I'm just going to make something up here. I'm going to zoom in. Hopefully I don't find any of your houses. Zoom in here. Zoom in again. So let's say this is the neighborhood, right? And I live somewhere right in here. And this is where I'm going to be interested and I want to find out. If you go too zoomed in, it may not let you define the AOI, which stands for Area of Interest, this tool and this tool. So what you need to do is define an area of interest so that the system knows where you want to look. So I click up here, I use that square button, and I just make a square one. I click, I hold, I release, and it's creating my area of interest. And you can see now it's kind of got this bar highlighting it. So I'm done with this tab. Next thing I can do is go to my soil map. And what it's going to do, and this since I'm so close zoomed in, I only have 2 types showing here. I have an LUC, which is most of this, and then this bottom right corner, I see I have a UNB. And the name for that, the LUC, is Loudonville Urban Land Complex, rolling. And it's about 1.5 acres, 98%, almost 99% of it. And the UNB is Urban Land Midawanga Complex, undulating. And we can click on those names, and it's going to tell us a lot of information about that type of soil. Now, a lot of this you may not use, you probably won't use, but some of it is really useful and can help as you're starting to investigate a new client's property. So what does it tell us? It gives us some setting stuff, right? This is what we may use. Some data about it. It rains between 32 and 42 inches a year. The mean temperature is between 48 and 54. Welcome to Northeast Ohio. 130 to almost 200 days frost-free. And it's not prime farmland. Of course it's not. I'm somewhere in the middle of a city, which is, typically destroyed soils. This particular one has a very weak development of profiles, right? And I told you that in the lecture that a lot of urban soils don't have a profile anymore. You're not going to see topsoil and then your B horizon and your E horizon. This is just a bunch of H's, which are just garbage horizons, basically. It's just all garbage soil, really. And that's why it's called an urban land complex, because it's just not a true soil, honestly. Not a horticultural soil. So you've got other things here, your drainage. This particular one is well drained, probably because it's a lot of silty loams, and we'll get into what that means, silt loam. Depth to restrictive feature, 20 to 40 inches to a lithic bedrock. Don't worry about lithic, but it's bedrock, right? It may have a plow pan or a fragipan. It depends on where you're at, what kind of restrictive feature. But what they mean by that is it restricts use. In this case, bedrock. Yeah, 20 to 40 inches to bedrock. Yeah, that's kind of hard to plant in bedrock. So really, in the areas here, 20 inches, this is pretty shallow, right? So it's not great soil and it's shallow soil. It kind of sucks to try to grow stuff here. Water table is way down there, more than 80 inches. This place doesn't flood, it doesn't pond, and not very much available water for our plants. So this is really yuck. I would not want to live here and grow plants. So it's an interesting thing, and I like that it gives us these things to use. Now you can measure on here. You can do all kinds of stuff with this map. You can go to your Soil Data Explorer, and there's just all kinds of stuff that you can pull out of this information. And we'll probably do more as we move along in the class. We can go to suitabilities and limitations for use. We can determine, is this a good building site? And it can help us understand, is it good for concrete, or will that concrete corrode? Steel, is it going to corrode? If I have a basement, what's going to happen with that basement? So it can help me understand that. All of these different things, military operations, right? If there's any type of, everything's rated for basically how good it would be for war, if war happened on it. Your soil health, your vegetative productivity, they've got certain things in here that help us understand, could this be good for different types of crops? You can download the data here as well, but what you're going to basically do is, after you define your area of interest and you've got your soil map up, I want you to go to the shopping cart, and there you'll see it says free. So why did they call it a shopping cart? I don't know. There are some options here. You really don't need to do anything. If anything, in this custom subtitle, you could put your name in there. And then go to this checkout and hit checkout. And I just hit get now. It's going to take it a minute, but you can, pick some of those other options, right? So there it shows your name, right? So that would be your subtitle. So this is your custom soil report for whatever county you're in. Here's the student name, your name, quick overview of it. And then it's going to, since I have such a small area, there's not much. But this describes how the surveys are made. It's an interesting thing, and I think you should read that. Some good questions are going to come out of there. And then it's going to show you the zoom in of your map. And I would do this a lot of times when I'm working for a client and we're in the planning stage, so that they could see that I pulled this up and I'm starting to consider their types of soils. You've got a legend for that. And then it's going to describe the soils and give us that report. So there's that Loudonville Urban Land Complex. That was most of it. And then we also had Urban Land Midawanga Complex. And that there are its types of information. So it's really a useful thing. What I'm going to have you do is basically, since this downloads as a PDF, submit this PDF so that I can take a quick look at it, and then fill out the lab report and submit both of those, and you will be good to go.